Two conflicts. Why the different reactions? The world is witnessing ongoing conflicts, but the responses are often puzzling. Look at Russia and Ukraine, a devastating war with global consequences. Then, look at Israel and Palestine, a decades-long struggle with no end in sight. Both involve land, history, and claims of self-defense. Yet the international community reacts very differently. Russia faces severe sanctions, economic isolation, and widespread condemnation. Israel, despite its continued occupation of Palestinian territories, enjoys strong international support, especially from the United States. Why the double standard? Is it because of strategic interests, historical alliances, or something more troubling? Are some lives considered more valuable than others? This video will delve into these complex conflicts, examining the historical roots, motivations, and global responses. Ultimately, we are left with a crucial question. Can we strive for a more just and equitable world order, one where the rules apply equally to all? Russia and Ukraine, a century of conflict. The current war in Ukraine didn't erupt overnight. It stems from a complex history tied to Russia, beginning with the collapse of the Tsarist Empire. After the Bolshevik Revolution, Ukraine briefly tasted independence before being incorporated into the Soviet Union to stand up against fascism. This period, especially the 1930s, saw the devastating Stalin-induced famine known as the Holodomor, which killed millions of Ukrainians. It left deep scars and fueled resentment towards Russia. In 2014, Russia annexed Crimea, a Ukrainian peninsula with a largely Russian population. This move, widely condemned as illegal, marked the beginning of the current conflict. Then, in 2022, Russia launched a full-scale invasion of Ukraine, citing NATO expansion and the need to denazify the country, claims widely rejected by the international community. The invasion triggered a humanitarian crisis and reshaped the geopolitical landscape. Roots of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict, a struggle for land and identity. The Israeli-Palestinian conflict is a story of two peoples, both claiming the same land as their rightful home. It's a conflict steeped in religion, history, and national identity, with roots going back over a century. Following the Holocaust, the Zionist movement advocating for a Jewish state in Palestine gained momentum. In 1948, Israel declared independence, sparking the First Arab-Israeli War. This war resulted in an Israeli victory and the displacement of hundreds of thousands of Palestinians. The 1967 Six-Day War further altered the landscape, with Israel capturing the West Bank, East Jerusalem, the Gaza Strip, the Golan Heights, and the Sinai Peninsula. This victory, while solidifying Israel's military dominance, also laid the groundwork for the ongoing occupation of Palestinian territories. Today, the conflict revolves around issues like settlements, borders, security, and the right of return for Palestinian refugees. Despite numerous peace efforts, a lasting solution remains elusive, leaving both sides trapped in a cycle of violence and mistrust. Part 4. Sanctions and silence, the world's reaction. The international community's response to these conflicts presents a stark contrast. Russia's invasion of Ukraine triggered swift and severe consequences. Western nations, led by the United States and the European Union, imposed unprecedented sanctions targeting Russia's economy, financial institutions, and individuals. These sanctions aimed to cripple Russia's ability to wage war and pressure the Putin regime to change course. The global response also included military aid to Ukraine, diplomatic isolation of Russia, and widespread condemnation of the invasion. In contrast, Israel's actions in the occupied Palestinian territories, including settlement expansion and military operations, have largely been met with international silence. While some nations criticize these actions, concrete measures like sanctions remain rare. This disparity raises questions about the selective application of international law and the role of power dynamics in shaping global responses. It highlights a fundamental challenge to the idea of a rules-based international order. Part 5. America's ally, unwavering support for Israel. To understand these differing responses, we must examine the role of strategic alliances, particularly the unwavering support of the United States for Israel. Since its inception, Israel has enjoyed a special relationship with the United States, receiving billions of dollars in military and economic aid. This alliance stems from shared values, strategic interests in the Middle East, and a powerful pro-Israel lobby in Washington. The United States views Israel as a crucial ally in a volatile region and a bulwark against common enemies. This unwavering support provides Israel with a sense of impunity, allowing it to act with little consequence on the international stage. The United States has repeatedly used its veto power at the UN Security Council to block resolutions criticizing Israel, shielding it from international pressure. This dynamic creates a perception of double standards, fueling resentment and undermining efforts to find a just and lasting solution to the conflict. Part 6. The media lens. Shaping our view of conflict. The media plays a crucial role in shaping perceptions of conflict. Coverage of Ukraine highlights the suffering of civilians and Russian aggression. This galvanizes international support for Ukraine. However, coverage of the Israeli-Palestinian conflict is often biased. Israel is often portrayed as defending itself against terrorism. While the Palestinian narrative is downplayed and deliberately silenced, this makes Israel increasingly aggressive and heavy-handed in leveling strongholds that Israel considers to be hideouts for opponents, even though these strongholds include hospitals and schools. In the past, Israel has also occupied other areas of neighboring countries on several occasions. In 1967, during the Six-Day War, Israel captured the Golan Heights from Syria. This strategic highland area, located near the Sea of Galilee, has since become a flashpoint of contention. Control of the Golan Heights gives Israel a significant military advantage, allowing them to observe deep into Syrian territory. In 1981, Israel made a controversial move by formally annexing the Golan Heights. This move was not recognized by the international community. They still consider it Syrian territory occupied by Israel. The area's fertile land and abundant water resources further complicate the dispute, making it a crucial and contested area in the Israeli-Syrian conflict. The Golan Heights remains a flashpoint, emblematic of the broader struggle for land and identity in the Middle East. As international efforts to resolve the conflict continue, the fate of this disputed territory remains uncertain, symbolizing the complexities and persistent tensions in the region. Part 7. The fairness issue. Can we fix a broken system? The contrasting responses to the Russia-Ukraine and Israel-Palestine conflicts expose a fundamental flaw in the international system, a lack of consistency and fairness. This double standard erodes trust in international institutions, fuels resentment, and undermines efforts to build a more just and peaceful world. To address this imbalance, we need to promote a more equitable and rules-based international order. This requires holding all actors accountable for their actions. Only then can we hope to break free from the cycle of violence and build a world where all lives are valued equally. Thank you for watching. If you have any thoughts, please leave them in the comments section. Like and subscribe to the channel to receive the next video. Goodbye and see you again.